Hello everyone. If we had to choose the greatest and most mysterious architectural work of humanity, then surely the Egyptian pyramid would be an extremely bright candidate. Thousands of years have passed, the level of human civilization has developed dramatically, but many things the ancient Egyptians left behind are still mysteries that science cannot explain. First question: why did the Egyptians build the pyramids? Second question: how could these magnificent structures stand in the harsh desert for thousands of years? And can the mysteries behind them change the way we perceive the past? Today, we will explore together one of the most magical works that mankind has ever created. Are you ready to reveal the secrets of these giant stones? The pyramid is considered one of the greatest wonders of the world that humans have ever built. According to many written records, the ancient Egyptians had a strong belief in resurrection and immortality. They prepare very carefully and thoughtfully for the death of themselves and their family members and clans by building mausoleums. They believe that home is a temporary place of rest, and burial is eternal. The pyramids are the tombs of the pharaohs and ancient emperors. In addition, some theories suggest that the pyramid was built so the Egyptians could protect their greatest secrets. There are even theories that the purpose of building the pyramid was for the ancient Egyptian civilization to communicate with other civilizations in outer space. Currently, scientists still cannot conclude exactly why the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. To date, scientists have found at least 138 pyramids in Egypt. Most of them were built on the banks of the Nile River, towards the setting sun, and are considered related to the world of the dead in Egyptian mythology. The Nile River is the main river of North Africa, often considered the longest river in the world, with a length of 6,650 kilometers and draining into the Mediterranean Sea. This is the most influential river in Africa, associated with the formation, development, and demise of many ancient kingdoms and contributing to the creation of the elude River civilization. The Giza Pyramid is one of the oldest and largest pyramids in the Egyptian pyramid complex. This is the tomb of the 4th dynasty of Pharaoh, built in the early 26th century BC over a period of 27 years. This is the oldest pyramid still among the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and is also the only pyramid with most of it still intact. It is very possible that it is also the work of a pre-existing civilization. Up to now, there is still no official, complete, accurate answer to the mysteries of the pyramid. How the pyramid was built remains a mystery to this day. If many works of different ages have almost exact answers about how the ancients built them, the Egyptian pyramids in particular are still a controversial issue. Features of the pyramid. The first point that needs to be mentioned is that the pyramids were built with a huge amount of stone. There are pyramids with up to 2.3 million stone blocks, each stone block weighing from 2.5 to 15 tons, a number too terrible for humans. And at that time, there would have been no wooden stone cart that could withstand the weight of these rocks. Certainly, many workers had to fall for construction. The remarkable thing here is that there are pyramids that took more than 20 years to build. These structures are built of huge blocks of granite and limestone. The stone blocks are carved and then joined together in a way that could not be more perfect, and this ensures solidity that will last over time. It must be known that this type of stone is not always taken right near the pyramid, but in some cases, transported from locations hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away from the construction site to reach the project. Build. Some rocks come from the Ni River. These rocks weigh tons, using only human power. So, how to drag a heavy stone across the sand in a distance of 805 kilometers, when in ancient Egypt there were no wheels, only wood and stone. The construction of the greatest construction to this day is still something that is hard to believe. What is the reason? Scientists have come up with many hypotheses. That first hypothesis: the ancient Egyptians used vertical rods to lift these stone blocks up. This hypothesis would be very reasonable if it were built of bricks or smaller stone slabs. However, how they can create pulleys that can withstand huge pulling forces to pull stone blocks weighing from 2.5 tons to 15 tons up is still an unsolved problem. Solution: getting it up high, then how to place these stones in the right position is even more difficult. The second hypothesis: some scientists have suggested that the Egyptians built giant earthen ramps to carry the stones up. Ramps were built around the pyramid and demolished upon completion. These dirt ramps greatly reduced the force needed to lift the stone, while also allowing many people to pull it up more easily. Of course, not just a single ramp was used, because if that were the case, building a pyramid would take hundreds of years. In addition to the 2 or 3 main ramps that were used continuously, they also built smaller and secondary ramps to carry as much stone as possible up parts of the pyramid. Third hypothesis: history used water to build pyramids. A group of physicists from the University of Amsterdam, Netherlands, believe that water is the answer to this mystery. Physicists then conducted a real-life test by dragging a heavy object across the sand. They realized that when soaked in water, sand would not be pushed up and block heavy objects from moving. Thanks to this, the friction force acting on the towed object is significantly reduced and the pulling force is reduced to half. As a result, only a small number of workers are needed compared to the original to move the necessary heavy objects. Although many people are skeptical about this hypothesis, Amsterdam physicists believe that water is a completely feasible answer, and their belief is further reinforced by ancient paintings engraved in the pyramid. Besides the hypotheses that many scientists have put forward, some others believe that it is possible that the Egyptians had the help of an extraterrestrial civilization, or possessed some lost secret that helped them in the process of moving and arranging giant blocks of stone. After completing the placement of stones to create the shape of the pyramid, the Egyptians will proceed to refine the outside and inside of the pyramid until complete. This work is done from top to bottom. They would remove the protruding parts of the pyramid's face, and the inside of the pyramid would be engraved with text and images. Until now, all the mysteries of the pyramid construction process are still a big question for humanity. As explained by Donald Redford, professor specializing in the study of ancient Mediterranean civilization at Penn State, it is possible that the ancient Egyptians chose different designs for their pharaohs' tombs because they worshipped the sun god. The Egyptian sun god was considered the creator of the pharaohs. God created himself from a small pyramid-shaped hill before creating other gods. The shape of the pyramid symbolizes the rays of the sun. Professor Redford said it is not true that slaves were forced to participate in the construction of the pyramids, as people think. The ancient Egyptian civilization's concept of slavery was a very complex issue because the legal aspects of indentured servitude and slavery were themselves complex. Poor farmers who went to build the pyramids were exempted from taxes, They were taken to construction sites, where food, shelter, and clothing were provided. The ancient Egyptians' methods of cutting and transporting stone are still being studied. Scholars have found evidence ancient Egyptians used bronze chisels to mine sandstone and limestone. Harder rocks such as granite or diorite require stronger tools. Dolerite, a very hard black igneous rock used by the Aswa people to get granite. During excavation, massive dolerite mortars were used to pound pieces of rock outside the granite block to be retrieved. According to Redford, there were about 60 to 70 men on duty breaking rocks. At the bottom, they will insert pieces of wood into the cut slots and then pour water into these slots. The wooden insert will expand, splitting the stone in half, and they will then slide onto a waiting ship. A group of people or herd of oxen will pull the rocks on a prepared slide lubricated with oil. Professor Redford said that images on tombs dating from the 19th century BC in Central Egypt depicted an alabaster statue more than 6 meters high was pulled by 173 men using 4 ropes. Wherever the statue went, another man lubricated the slide. Once the stone blocks were transported to the construction site, small ramps were built to bring the stones up to the pyramid. People used bricks made from mud to create those slopes and then covered them with mortar to harden the surface. Redford notes, if they kept raising the slopes a little at a time as they pulled up the rocks, they would get the blocks into the right position quite easily. He also said that at least one such slope still exists. When answering doubts about why such heavy blocks of stone could be transported without machinery, Professor Redford said, "I often show skeptics a photo of 20 of my workers at an archaeological site hauling a block of granite weighing 2.5 tons. I know it is entirely possible because I also participated in stone pulling. The mystery of the unusual heat and chemistry of the air inside the pyramids. Even though the temperature outside is very hot, inside the pyramids, specifically the Giza pyramid, the temperature is always stable at about 20 degrees Celsius. According to world historical documents, scientists brought rusty coins into the pyramid, and after more than a month, those coins became shiny and brand new. They continued to bring a glass of fresh milk inside the pyramid, and after a month, the taste and color of the glass of milk remained unchanged. The fruits brought there for half a month are still very fresh, not dehydrated, withered or damaged. It is still a mystery that no scientist has been able to explain. However, many geologists believe that it is most likely the intervention of a certain young man, hallucinating that he is the pyramid's housekeeping staff and changing milk and fresh fruits every day. For guests. Deadly traps. If you have ever seen famous movies about ancient Egyptian mummies, surely everyone must shudder when witnessing the scary traps arranged inside the pharaoh's tomb. Extremely complex design and accompanied by sophisticated internal mechanical systems to protect and keep the king's resting place private from the disturbance of strangers outside. So how many traps have been discovered inside the tombs of the past? The first thing to mention is 7 seconds. Almost all ancient pyramids in Egypt have this type of trap, which are very thin, sharp steel wires hung at neck level to catch careless intruders. Wire traps are often camouflaged by darkness in areas with limited visibility, in positions where people can easily slip or lose their footing, making it impossible for victims to take precautions. This is also one of the most effective traps, according to experts. Snake trap, a terrifying obsession for anyone afraid of this beast. They are extremely poisonous snakes, usually cobras with deadly incisions. They are trained to be ready to attack any person who appears. Some mausoleums can have trap pits, in which dozens or hundreds of snakes live. However, scientists say that such a trap system is unlikely to operate for many years. Simply because snakes cannot live that many years without food. Equally terrifying are the poison traps. Many ancient Egyptian tombs used this type of trap, such as the tomb system at the Bahari Oasis. Accordingly, ancient people often covered the floor with sharp metal dust. If an intruder inhales this powder, his body will gradually erode and die slowly in extreme pain. In 2001, Dr. Jia Hao, an archaeologist in Egypt, experienced this while exploring a tomb in the Bahari Oasis. He and his colleagues were forced to retreat after seeing buried artifacts of a layer of rematus about 20 centimeters thick. It's true that getting into the pyramid is one thing, but then getting out is a very different story. Where is Pharaoh Tutankhamun? It is not uncommon for explorers to explore relics at risk or lose their lives. Among the most terrifying and haunting things is the curse inside the pyramid. Thousands of years have passed. The story and curse of Pharaoh Tutankhamun's mummy still haunts. Pharaoh Tutankhamun is the youngest king in ancient Egyptian history. He ascended the throne in 1332 BC when he was just 9 years old. As the 18th pharaoh of the Egyptian dynasty, King Tutankhamun's reign is considered the most brilliant golden age of all dynasties. But in 1323 BC, around the age of 18, Pharaoh Tutankhamun suddenly and mysteriously died. Many years later, most of the Egyptian royal tombs were dug up and almost all of the artifacts in them were stolen. Only King Tutankhamun's tomb has no traces found. This has attracted much interest and attention from the scientific community. In 1922, the excavation team of British archaeologist Howard Carter unexpectedly discovered the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. They received a lot of things, with more than 5,000 artifacts, including jewels, jewelry, clothes, weapons, technology products, and household utensils. This was a shocking event at that time, because this discovery brought a breakthrough in the field of archaeology. But it also causes a lot of suspicion and fear about a punishing curse from the pharaoh. The sponsor of this excavation was Lord Carnarvon, who was found dead from an infectious mosquito bite. Later, people examined King Tutankhamun's body and discovered that the king had a similar mosquito bite on his face. Another victim was Egyptian Prince Adil, 23 years old, who went to Luxor to invade and take photos of Tutankhamun's tomb twice. He was murdered by his French wife Mary in Paris on July 10, 1923. Ori was the man who invaded Tutankhamun's tomb and was the half-brother of the excavation sponsor, Lord Carnarvon. Shortly after returning from Luxor, he also died of blood poisoning while going for a routine dental checkup. A short time later, archaeologist Athom and the research team also fell into a deep coma and died of unknown causes. Even Lord Carnarvon, because of his meticulousness, after looking at the tomb, had a high fever and died the next day. Jostko's doctor also died of unknown cause. In 1924, an Egyptian biologist, a British citizen, brought some curious people into the tomb. And just a few days later, he hanged himself. In about 2 years after the tomb was excavated, at least 22 people involved died of unknown causes. Many scientists believe that the cause of this series of deaths of unfortunate victims is due to a perennial bacteria in the humid environment inside the tomb. However, many other people believe in the Pharaoh curse. The curse warns that anyone who enters the tomb with a dark soul will be imprisoned forever in the dungeon. Whoever destroys this place, the Egyptian gods will destroy him. Death will come quickly to those who dare to disturb the king's resting place. The mysterious world inside the pyramid. There are many pyramids in the world, including the famous Djoser Pyramid, also known as the Step Pyramid, an archaeological relic in the Saqqara Cemetery of Egypt. It was built between 2630 and 2611 BC. This is one of the best-known ancient works. Hidden underneath this pyramid is an entire underground world that repairs millions of mummies and stores treasures and antiques. This is the resting place of 16 pharaohs, but also a cemetery for Egyptian princes and nobles. Not only did archaeologists find human mummies, they also dug up many animal mummies on a huge scale. Underground, there are hundreds of large and small tunnels, looking like an underground palace. A coffin weighing 90 tons was found made from granite. After using explosives, the archaeological team found the mummy of a giant cow inside. There are so many thrilling things that until now people still do not understand the origin and true stories inside this pyramid. A creepy mystery that not everyone knows. We are all too familiar with the image of Egyptian mummies through famous Hollywood movies. So how did the mummification process of the ancient Egyptians actually take place? Since ancient times, the ancient Egyptians believed that life after death was of great importance and depended on preserving the body to serve as a residence for the soul. Embalming techniques were also developed from there. The entire embalming process takes about 70 days and is performed by priests, including many meticulous and elaborate steps. When a person dies, the body will be transferred to a specialized embalming room. This place is a table more than half a meter high and tools for embalming, what is needed for the embalming process, including tools for jars containing organs, natron salt, linen, and an experienced priest experienced to carry out this process. Nerve cells decompose the fastest, so ancient Egyptians often punched a hole in the deceased's skull, crushed the brains, and sucked them out through the nose. After removing all the brain fluid, they poured alcohol inside to clean and disinfect. The embalmer also removed the stomach, liver, lungs, and intestines through a small incision on the left side of the abdomen. The organs are removed from the body by priests and placed in jars containing herbs modeled after the 4 sons of the god Horus to protect the organs and placed in a private grave. The heart will be retained because the ancient Egyptians believed that the heart contained a person's consciousness and feelings. But according to statistics, only about 25% of discovered mummies still have hearts inside. In the next step, they wash their bodies with alcohol and spices. Different parts will use different materials to clean. With an empty skull, tree sap will be poured in through the nose. After that, the dead person will be washed for the last time with the water of the Nile River. And this is a step with religious significance. After the above process, the mummy is bathed in palm oil and then covered with a special salt for 35 days to protect the outer layer of flesh, to help remove water from the mummy's body and leave a brown mass that is formed. Strong. At this time, the monks will pour perfume and cover the body with a layer of resin to seal it. Then, massage your body with a wax mixture containing cedar oil, a type of aromatherapy to ward off insects. A metal piece shaped like the Eye of Horus was placed over the incision in the abdomen. In the next step, they wrapped the mummy in linen and placed it in a nesting coffin or stone coffin. People also placed various charms between the mummy's wrappings, in the belief that they had the power to protect the deceased. Giant Sphinx. Next to the three large pyramids on the Giza Plateau is the mysterious Sphinx statue. This giant statue made of limestone, shaped like a sphinx, is a legendary creature with a lion's body and a human head, in a prostrate position, located on the Giza Plateau on the left bank of the Nile. This is the largest monolithic statue today, with a length of 73.5 m and a height of 20.22 m. It stood there for many years and challenged all scientific and archaeological research. Robertox, a professor of geology at Boston University in the U.S., once believed that the Egyptians built this statue. However, when he went to the place to research, he discovered that the erosion marks on the statue's body could only be caused by water, not by wind or desert sandstorms. This place is on the border of the Sahara Desert, the largest desert in the world, with intense heat all year round. The erosion mark is located in the lower part, the oldest position of the statue, as if it had been immersed in water or had experienced a great flood in the past. Since then, he and his colleagues have confirmed that this Sphinx statue is older than the neighboring pyramids. It must even have appeared around 10,000 BC, while the ancient Egyptians are believed to have only formed around 3000 BC. So who are the builders of this Sphinx statue? The mystery of the Sphinx statue has attracted a lot of attention and raised countless hypotheses. One of them is the road leading to the legendary city of Atlantis. It began to arise when philosopher Plato wrote about a utopian society that existed in the heart of a city with a civilization far superior to that of its time, called Atlantis. At that time, Atlantis belonged to the Greek island of Santorini, which today has been engulfed by volcanic and lava activity. The giant Sphinx is also said to be related to the god Anubis, shaped like a human body and a jackal's head. The jackal was closely associated with cemeteries in ancient Egypt because it was a scavenger. Therefore, at that time, Anubis was the most important god of death for the ancient Egyptians, playing an important role in funerals, the embalming process and life after death, associated with the title of priest. Embalming ceremony. In Greek mythology, the Sphinx once appeared as a person blocking the way of travelers, and had many dangerous puzzles. One of those questions is, what animal has 4 legs, 2 legs, then 3 legs? Adap, king of Thebes, had the correct answer. That's humans. First they crawled on 4 legs, walked on 2 legs and eventually had to use a cane, a 3rd leg when they were old. This answer forced the Sphinx to commit suicide. The Egyptian pyramids still contain too many mysteries, causing headaches for the scientific community. The deeper one goes into research, the more new secrets appear, causing over the centuries, this civilization's obsession with the contemporary world has never diminished. The enduring importance of the pyramid. Certainly, no matter how much science and technology develop, the Egyptian pyramids are still a great and indelible testament of human intelligence. They are a testament to the ability to overcome the limits of time, not only through massive constructions but also through the superior construction techniques that the ancient Egyptians used. These pyramids are not only great constructions, but also symbols of creativity, perseverance, and the ability to exist of a civilization that, despite thousands of years, still stands as one. Living witnesses of the past. With every stone, every layer of sand, every burial chamber inside the pyramid, we not only see the greatness of an architectural work, but also a picture of how people have united strength, faith, and vision over time. They are living proof that, when people combine the power of intelligence and faith, they can create miracles that last forever. The magic of history in conclusion. Although many mysteries surrounding the pyramids remain unanswered, it is these uncertainties that make us see their magic and irresistible attraction. The remaining traces of a glorious civilization and monumental constructions have never stopped urging us to learn more and discover more about the things that ancient people created and left behind for posterity. The beauty in structures lies not only in their appearance but also in the story of their belief, worship, and desire to reach eternity. So, although we cannot yet decode all the mysteries of the pyramid, one thing we can be sure of. These wonders are not just stories of the past, but priceless heritage for the present and future. They are a source of inspiration for us to reconsider the power and unlimited creativity of humans, and are also a reminder of the immortality of what is built with passion and intelligence. These pyramids will continue to exist forever, beyond space and time, as a greeting from the past to us today. Dear friends, I hope that today you have made interesting discoveries about one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. The stories and mysteries surrounding the Egyptian pyramids will always inspire us to continue searching and discovering more about the past, so that from there, we can learn, grow, and live more fully. In the present, always remember, keep digging deep, because there are always more interesting things to discover, many mysteries that will surprise you. Thank you for following and have a day full of fun and discovery.